another one of my vintage hi-fi videos. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I mended this VU meter with a USB stick. Sounds silly, but that's what's happened, and I thought, well, that's a good title as well to stick up on YouTube, why not? Right, okay, yeah, basically I've got this receiver, and this VU meter was stuck in a certain position. I mean, these are old, and a lot of these VU meters do go. There could be a number of reasons. It could be the spring inside, it could be the open circuit in the coil, it could be a few different things, but you may be lucky and it's something that's happened to this one, and you may be able to mend yours. Say you're looking around for a second-hand one on eBay and places like that that may only last another year or so anyway, being so old, depending on use and whatever. A little bit about the receiver first of all. This is a Superscope 1220. The reason I picked this up recently. The reason being, I've got a few Marantz receivers and other bits and pieces. I just wanted to get a Superscope, you know, supposedly made by Marantz, or Marantz makes it, or Superscope makes it, whatever company that Superscope bought. And it's very, very similar to a Marantz, like style-wise at the front, the button layout and panning the this control. You know, quite a few similar kind of features on the front and that. So yeah, I read a few different reviews, and some, you know, people seem to like it and whatever. So I thought I'll get it as long as the price is right. So I put in my bid on eBay. It was a bid up, and I won it for the actual top bid I wanted to pay. I wanted a little bit higher, not a lot. I paid 70. The reason being because it was in absolutely mint condition. It's in really, really good condition. Hardly any marks on it at all. And I thought maybe, you know, if it's something that's, you know, in really good condition, I don't mind paying a little bit more. But I had a ceiling price. I didn't know nothing about it, and I don't want to overpay, which I've done in the past. I want to try and get a reasonable bargain, something I've got to be happy with. You know, listed, fully working and everything. So anyway, I received it. First of all, you can see a couple of the bulbs are out on the front, but that's no big deal really. That weren't going to make any effect. Just 2 bulbs, £2, something like that, and that's fixed. I haven't done it yet, but I will get around to doing that. But what was a little bit of a sticky issue for me was the meter didn't work. We said it was fully working, and obviously fully working, you expect the meter to work. The picture you had up there didn't actually show the position of the meter. It was kind of one of these where you took with a flash, and being it's lit up and the flash, it's just a blur basically. You had no idea where the actual needle was. But anyways, a little quick video here of exactly how it is. As you can see, as I'm tuning up and down the dial, this meter is the needle on it is actually stuck 3/4 of the way along to the right hand side, which is a bit of a nuisance. So yeah, I give it a few taps, etc. and everything, but it weren't going to budge as it was. So you didn't want to take the top off. I left it as it is. I got in contact with the seller first of all, and I said to him, well, look, I bid it accordingly that it was fully working. If it had known it weren't fully working, the meter needed addressing. Not too worried about the bulbs, but the meter needed addressing. I would have bidded lower, and I would have bidded, you know, £20 lower probably, because that's what these meters are going to cost to replace. If you're lucky, you've got to find one first. And a lot of them, you know, I'm in the UK, a lot of them in America and places like that, and it's actually more with the postage. It's £30–35, something like that, just for a little meter. So I said to him, look, you can have it back. I'll send it back, no problem. You know, sure, you know, you resell it as it is or whatever. I'm just letting you know that, you know, I'm not that happy with it. I'll bid you £20 less. If you're willing to take £20 less, I'll keep it. If not, I'll say no problem and send it back. Anyway, he got back to me. He said, yeah, no problem. He said, I didn't realise the meter weren't working. I said, well, no, it isn't. You know what I mean? He said, I did see it in that position, but I thought that's how it worked. But there you go. So that's it. So you know, obviously didn't know a lot about it himself. So yeah. So now it's mine. I don't mind taking the lid off. I mean, I wouldn't have took the lid off and start mucking about doing it while it still is, kind of thing. Because if you muck it up or make it worse, which you can easily do, you know what I mean? Like I say, I'm a kind of average, but you still you know, even professionals make mistakes, so I'm guaranteed to, kind of thing. And I have done in the past. I remember years ago, I don't know if I told this story very, very quickly. I was mending someone's, or trying to mend someone's VCR video cassette recorder, and I took the lid off, and it was still plugged in, because I like working with things still plugged in so you can see what's happening and whatever, mechanical and that. And I had the screwdriver literally in my mouth like that. And I don't know what made me do it. I must have went to say something or do something, and I forgot the screwdriver was in my mouth, and of course it's gone straight down. It's hit the board. I've heard a little spark, and everything turned off. And I thought, oh. So I've obviously done a few little checks, but these video calls at the time, it was like a later model, and it's got ICs and stuff like that in it, and I just couldn't find out, and I had a look. And I said, I rang him up and I said, look, I bugged it up, and it weren't working properly anyway. He said, oh, don't worry about it, it weren't working properly. But anyway, so you can make an easy mistake. So that's why I don't do it until it's actually mine. So anyway, I opened it up. As you can see, this is the top off now, and that's what greeted me inside. It's a little bit dusty, it was, but a little like paintbrush inside, soft paintbrush to get all the dust off, and I say it was only a little bit, and it's come up quite nice inside. It's in quite good, clean condition inside. So yeah, so now I thought what I'd do is first of all see if I've got any voltage going to this meter at all. So as you can see with these this picture here, look at the red arrows here. I took these two wires off, the black and the white one, and just really put a multimeter across it on millivolts, and then all I've done was literally it's just got my tuning dial and just gone backwards and forwards on the tuning dial on FM, and you should see some kind of deviation in the voltage. It should range from a plus to minus. It doesn't matter which way you put the meter on it, a plus to minus on the meter depending where it is on the dial. There should be some voltage to go in there, some millivolts going there, and that was happening. So I knew that some power was getting to it. The inside circuit controlling the meter was working fine, so that was great. So next thing is I'm going to check the meter. So I thought, well, I might as well take it out anyway. So I took it all out, and to take it out, it's just these two yellow two screws here marked with the yellow arrows in the same picture. Just take that, and once you've got the wires undone, the meter just literally drops down. It may be stuck in there with a little bit of tape or something onto the front. I think there's maybe a little bit of glue, but just a little push and it fall down, and there you've got the meter out. So with the meter out, I actually connected the meter to my multimeter. Again, I just wanted to read the resistance now, see if there's any resistance on the coil, or if it's gone open circuit. And as you can see, there was a resistance on the coil, so I knew that was fine. So I thought, well, now to investigate a little bit further into the meter, I'm going to have to take the front cover off, which I did here. It's just a piece of sellotape, little piece of sellotape there at the front. Then it's like a back tape all the way around, the back tape holding it in. So we take that off as well. And as you can see, there's the meter completely like taken apart there. So I literally just got the meter, the actual needle, and just moved it with my finger, little finger backwards and forwards, and wherever I moved it, it stayed in that position. It's fairly easy to move. It went hard, it's only a little. It was easy to move, but it just stayed exactly where I left it. So the next thing I did here was, if you look at this picture here, I just wanted to check the spring. There's a little spring in there that obviously returns the dial back to a dead centre. Just want to make sure that spring was connected. There's two connections, it's kind of soldered on in there. There's two little connections, you can see them. I kind of zoomed in a bit here, then the yellow marked up, and both of them were soldered still. So I thought, well, the spring, maybe it could have went. The spring could have went, like any spring can go still, but it seemed, as I'm moving the dial backwards and forwards, you can see the spring getting bigger and smaller. So I was fairly confident that the spring was working. So the only other thing I could do now really was to adjust this screw as shown here, like this green, like the screw as shown with the yellow arrow. This screw here, I thought if I just undo it a little bit. So I picked up one of my smallest screwdrivers, normal ones, this one here. And the tip was just, it was the right width, but it's just the thinness of it weren't quite thin enough to get in there. And when you do these meters, you just want to really rest the screwdriver in the ridge, then turn it. You don't want to be pushing down on it, because as soon as you start pushing down, these are very, very, very delicate. Even though, to be honest with you, this is a cheap meter. You can see it's very cheaply made. Everything about it says cheap. Not maybe like Marantz meters, quite a lot more, made a lot better than this. It's quite a cheap meter. So yeah, don't push down it. Just want to rest it in there and just turn it. Now, this weren't doing any favours at all. Then I had a little watch screwdriver. One of these you get to mean watches, and this was like the trouble with these. They've got a very thin like groove, but obviously the actual screwdriver is very thin as well. So you're really putting a needle in there basically, and you're not getting much leverages or anything. And then with that, you're going to have a tendency to start pushing down. So that was no good. So I literally looked around quickly, like I think what else, and it was literally sitting next to me screwdriver was one of these USB sticks, which I've got loads of, here, downstairs, all over the house really, bits and pieces, files and whatever, videos and God knows what else on them. So yeah, I looked at that, and as you can see, well, you may not, but you see your own USB stick. This is quite a very thin piece of metal, but it's nice and long as well. So lucky enough, this screw protrudes. So I literally just used one edge of this, just rested it on the screw in the alley, like the gap, and just turned it, and that was it. So I've done it about a quarter of a turn first of all. Moved the needle with my finger. It's moving slightly back, very slightly. So I've done half a turn. And the meter seemed to be okay. Yeah, it was moving, I let go of it and it seemed to move back. So I thought what I'd do is I'll just put it back, rest it in the receiver on the top. Didn't actually fix it in, just rest it on top, wired it up and down with a dial. It seemed to move back, seemed to be pretty slow moving back and not that fast responsive going forward. So I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. It's just one more quarter turn, and you obviously don't want to go too mad, because if you do, you know, this screw, the needle may actually fall out. I'm not too sure exactly how it's held in with this screw, but yeah, obviously, like, it's just a pressure against the, you know, pressure against the needle. So just undone it another quarter, put it back on top again, done it, and it seemed to be very nice there. To give it a little shake, make sure it didn't fall out or anything. Yeah, so it's nice and free. So I thought I'm happy with that. So really just basically put that bit of white tape back, put it back together, sellotape at the front, and you know, putting it back in there and soldering it back in, and back in the receiver. And as you can see now, this is me now just testing it out, and as you can see, the dial's moving nice and freely there, and all's good with that. So yeah, so you know, pleased that that's sorted itself out. So that's it. Yeah, so you know, what have I learned? I've learned, you know, maybe you can mend these meters, like I say, some of them go open circuit, some of the springs go, then you're stuck. And obviously you can undo this screw, and it could be really dirty in there, and it's still, you know, it could be, I'm not too sure if they use some kind of like grease or something. It must be very, very fine. It could dry up, and you know, you could, you know, it may not work. Maybe if you know the meter's working, you know, the coil's okay, the spring's okay, and you undo it, I wouldn't go more than about one turn maybe, and it's still not working. It may be okay to spray some kind of lubricant in there that you maybe do your switches with or something, gives it a spray, and it may like undo that kind of dirt, grease or whatever that's dried up. It may loosen it up for you. Maybe that's something else you could try as well. It's obviously not going to work on all the meters. Like I say, if it's open circuit or the spring's gone, well, that's it, you know what I mean, you're looking around for another meter. Anyway, yeah, I hope that's been some use to some people that's maybe got a meter that's stuck. You know, something you may want to have a little go at yourself before you actually buy another one. Anyway, until the next video, I'll say thanks for watching.